und herzlich willkommen zu Beyond Blue. Es ist natürlich ein bisschen später geworden, aber ich habe es schon mitgeteilt. Es ist keine direkte Programmvorschau. Das ist so eine, wie soll ich sagen, wie habe ich es genannt? Ich muss das mal nachgucken, wie ich es überhaupt selber genannt habe. Programmvorschlag, Spielverabredung. Und manchmal ist es so, dass ich halt immer Sachen anbahne, die zwischen reinkommen und da kann man halt die Zeit nicht mehr hundertprozentig halten. Manchmal verschiebt sich dann auch leider um eine Stunde. Es kommt vor. Aber dafür sind es keine direkten Ankündigungen. Ja, also manchmal kann es auch passieren, es kommt dann halt auch nicht. Aber in der Regel kommt es. So, wir starten durch. Es tut mir natürlich auch leid, der Startbildschirm war auch ein bisschen in Mitleidenschaft gezogen. Ich hatte das Ende noch drin. Die sehen noch relativ gleich aus. Ich habe das komplett jetzt übersehen. Aber gut, das passiert halt ganz einfach. Ja. Wie machen wir weiter? Natürlich mit Beyond Blue. Wir fahren einfach fort, leben nicht lang rum.
Day 12. Spent the last 5 days on an endless series of depth tests of I'm in and okay.
You sure I can't talk you into another test dive at this depth before we stream?
Enough test dives. It's not like I'm doing a spacewalk.
Ja,
With this suit, you probably could.
schwimmen wir
We're
mal.
gonna talk about suit crush depth again?
I think we can probably roll.
Starting the live stream.
Welcome back, ocean friends. Tonight, I am
So wie ist jetzt nicht.
Midnight Zone, no light from the surface deep. Tonight, we're using Andre's lure drone to mimic the Atolla jellyfish.
Nee, das letzte Mal abgebrochen.
To lure large predators like the giant squid.
It's certainly not all my tech. I'm building on years of prior research.
Don't forget our mission to the brine pools.
Oh yes, Arena will fill you in on that later.
Der Stuhl hängt. Ich bin gespannt, wie lange wir das Spiel noch spielen. Das ist noch so ein Ding.
Okay, Andre, how do I find the lure drone?
Look for blinking red lights in the water column.
Köder.
No need to get too close. You can activate the lure from there.
Andre, have you done this before?
I haven't, but others have.
How long until we can expect the lure to attract a predator?
It's hard to say. It's a big ocean. But if you lose patience, I would find some real Atolla jellyfish. I have a feedback system set up to improve the lure as you scan them.
Of course you do. For those watching, we will be scanning these Atolla jellyfish to make sure Andre's lure matches the real thing.
It does, but it can always be refined.
Not much confidence in humanity, but plenty in himself.
Ja.
Got the jellyfish scans, though Andre doesn't need them.
In truth, they should improve the lure. I would not waste your time.
Getting a few impolite comments on the screen pointing out that giant squid don't feed on Atolla jellyfish.
They're right. Actually, the Atolla puts on this light show when under attack, in order to lure creatures big enough to eat their attacker. Might have some useful human applications.
I think we need more Atolla scans to approve the lure.
Ja, wissen die. Mann, das ist doch schön angeguckt.
Okay. Whose idea was it to live stream this particular dive? I am glad I can't see the comments.
I would agree. My grandmother had a saying for times like this. I'm not going to try my grandmother's accent on a live stream, but loosely translated, it means if you get bored waiting for a giant squid, you can always go to a brine pool.
That's a pretty specific saying.
Ist doch nicht richtig. Noch eine brauchen wir, kann ich wissen.
I noticed that these atollas were already making their blue alarm. before you swam close.
Most likely a sign that they have detected predators in the region that threaten them.
Ja, wie man es nimmt.
That gave me a chill.
Ekelig. Ja, ich trinke dann gleich.
I know how much you enjoyed that, but do you mind if we check out the brine pool before we check on our whale cam?
If you insist. You got what you wanted. This is my giant squid.
Is that another one of your grandmother's sayings?
No, but she often used this one. Hurry up and collect my specimens for me.
What an expressive language.
It's no giant squid, but I promise you, you won't have to wait to find it.
At long last, welcome to the brine pool. I know it's really a salt lake under the ocean, but it looks more like a witch's brew. I have been teasing Arena, but a brine pool is a diverse microenvironment within the ocean. It has its own ecosystem.
And each one is unique. So that means the microbiology is unique and could hold groundbreaking solutions to human problems. Each time I take new samples into a lab here on this ship, it's this magical discovery moment where I tingle all over. I fund my own research so I can pursue what I know to be important. And people ask me, how much money are you going to spend to collect some bacteria at the bottom of the ocean? If these bacteria hold the cure for a disease that relieves even just a small amount of human suffering, how do you put a price on that?
That is some giant squid.
Also ein bisschen mikrochemische Probe brauchen wir noch. Irgendwo eine mikrochemische Probe.
Marai, pushing your waypoint.
Sperm whales are back on the hunt.
Look for the drones. They will seek out the sound of the sperm whales and then idle nearby.
We hope that today, Andrea's tech will make it possible to document how a sperm whale hunts the giant squid. Let's go tag some sperm whales so we can eavesdrop on their hunting.
One of our viewers wants to know if there is a problem with the link, since the waypoints keep appearing and disappearing.
No problem. The drones are in stealth mode, so they will only track the whales by sound.
I better swim fast. We'll keep good watch over you.
Ja, Snor.
Whoa! What just happened?
I think the squid knocked the camera right off.
I had that camera feed in full screen on my visor, and for a second I thought it was lights out for me.
Sounds like a good time for the sub to pick you up. Live stream out.
Ah ja. Ah ja. Da haben wir sehen, wie ich das aufkriege wieder. Ich habe wieder mal alles vergessen. Ich will dir Wasser trinken. Ich weiß, ist nicht das Beste. Das beste Werkzeug, um Flaschen aufzumachen, aber wenn man es vergisst Oder ich gehe den Öffner holen. Ich gehe den Öffner holen. Das geht schlecht mit diesem Gerät. Ich bin in Kürze wieder da. So, jetzt. Es war auch kein Öffner, aber es geht. Ich sag gleich, ich hab alkoholfrei. So. Ich muss fortfahren. Du bist jetzt hier ist festgefahren. Ne, Maus geht noch. Was nicht? Jetzt. Willkommen an Bord der Nautilus. Ein bisschen duschen gehen geht eben nie, hä? So, man könnte jetzt dieses ganze Material ein bisschen erforschen. Dass wir uns so ein bisschen angescannt haben mittlerweile alles schon. Ja, Fische halt, ne? War schon ganz schön erfolgreich. Es fehlt zwar nur noch ein bisschen Zeug. Ich dachte, die können wir auch auswählen. Ja. Kann man auswählen. Kann man Fische angucken. Nun gut, machen wir weiter. Mal gucken, was wir noch so haben. Hier können wir noch ein bisschen tauchen.
It's Irina. Since there's no dive today, I'm
Stunde
going to
rum
lose
hier,
myself
weißt du.
in the wet lab.
Sorry.
Work on those samples you sent up from the brine pool. Hey, have you listened to my daughter's track? Interesting, right?
Ja, ja.
Mirai, remember the tag we found on the turtles? I put it out on the network and I got the strangest message back. I'm going to take a tender to a small island nearby and check it out. I'll explain everything later. Still no mapping drone, by the way.
Hey, it's me. Nana didn't qualify for the study. Doctor says we missed the window. Whatever that means. Hard to tell what she remembers now. It's tough. Not sure my head's 100% there with school. Honestly, seems like a waste of money. Anyway, see you.
Ja. Ist bestimmt. Wir machen noch einen Tauchgang. Und dann geht's auch schon weiter mit dem Nachtexpress, also die Wiederholungen. Aber wisst Bescheid.
Day 13. We're in the vents region without a map because of the lost drone. Diving blind, but I know these vents are important to Arena. We tracked a tag from our whale family here. I'm hoping it just fell off as... I'm in and okay.
Remember, no buoys and no waypoints. I put a simple version of the mapping system on your Manta drone. Now, we won't get your feed live, so we'll hear you, but won't see what you see.
I really wish we hadn't lost that mapping drone.
Relax. You know I've got this.
Of course, but we'll keep unnecessary chatter to a minimum to help you focus.
Roger that. No chit-chat. Singing's okay, though, right? Arena, how will I know the difference again between a dormant vent and a live vent?
Well, the live vents would have 400-degree water streaming out, so that's one way.
Check. Wide berth and the live hydrothermal vents.
Sorry, I thought my mic was muted. This is a dormant field. No live vents.
Neither of you are gonna believe this. I think I found the mapping drone.
Really?
No way.
Can you scan it to make sure?
Scan confirms. I thought you programmed it to track the noise from the miners.
I did. I definitely did.
Maybe you never committed the change. You were pretty exhausted that night.
Maybe.
Okay, this dive just keeps getting stranger. How hot did you say that water typically is in a live vent?
Is that a joke?
No joke. Well, we're down one drone, but discovered an unmapped vent system.
Mirai, this is great. I truly believe that these systems are the key to understanding the origins of life. Thank you so much for doing the dive under these conditions.
Actually, that might be the answer.
What?
To why the drone died.
We were talking about the origins of life.
My mind won't stop if it can't fit all the pieces together. The mapping drone may have cruised too close to the vent. It's got more delicate equipment on its underside that are not rated for anything close to that temperature.
You sound almost pleased.
Well, it's better to know the flaws so you can fix them.
I know we're giving me the silent treatment, but I think I just discovered a new species of octopus.
Not sure I can confirm that with just one scan.
Sorry, didn't copy that. Arena, did you expect volcanic activity here?
Describe, please.
Red, glowing. Need more?
Mirai, I would give that a very wide berth. Like maybe from your sub.
Are you kidding me?
Describe, please.
I can't. I mean, I don't want to.
Mirai, you're making me uneasy.
Seriously, we'll look at it together when I'm done with the dive. Oh no! What happened to you? Were you sick?
Are you okay?
Just getting a few last scans. Andre, is it possible that this is one of our tags?
That's my tag sound.
Ist ein bisschen eng.
Is that an opening there?
Das ist eh nicht, was ich noch machen soll hier. Also irgendwie kommen wir nicht raus. Ja, der irrt man jetzt hier durch der Botanik. Da sind wir schon durch. Ich weiß nicht, ich glaube. No, dat doen we gewoon. Nee. Ja, also ich weiß nicht, wo ich noch hin soll.
And saying goodbye to a friend. Can you send the sub?
So. Freunde, willkommen zurück. Das letzte Mal über. Jetzt machen wir Folgendes. Wir gucken jetzt Fische an. Ich weiß nicht, was der verkehrte. Was wurde verkehrte? Wo habe ich jetzt die Ding, wo man Fische gucken kann? Ich werde es finden. Ich denke, Steuerstuhl. Wie ist nicht? Ich denke, wir sind im Steuerstuhl. Ne, F. Was?
We watched the video.
I'm furious. Where should we start?
The destroyed vent. I couldn't believe how badly the seabed was chewed up.
Vents that might have had a fossil record dating back over 1 billion years.
And microbial life that doesn't exist anywhere else on the planet. Who knows what cures we've lost.
Your drone's a fallen hero, Andre. I think it spooked the miners before they did more damage.
If you hadn't been willing to dive without a map, we would never have confirmed they were actively mining.
Who gets the satisfaction of turning them in?
We were debating that before you came on.
Dinge.
We should jointly report. It'll be stronger.
Agreed.
Agreed. Now tell us about the whale fall. Could you ID the whale?
The whale fall was definitely from the baby's family. The tail fluke was intact enough to scan it.
But you're sure it wasn't the mother?
It wasn't the mother. The ID matched another whale we know from her family. But it was an older whale, so it could have been from natural causes.
Do you think there's any connection to the miners?
They did plenty of damage, but I don't think the whale fall is on them.
I can pull out anything from the scan log that might be worth investigating.
Already have. Can you turn these into dive objectives?
Right. Catch you in a bit.
Wir machen jetzt keinen Tauchgang. Wir wollten ein Video gucken. Ist nur das Döfe. Ich weiß nicht. Eigentlich war das ja hier. Und dann hast du diese. Aber nee. Also irgendwo war die Videodatenbank. Wenn ihr es wisst, sagt es mir. Ja. Sorry. Jetzt haben wir es wieder gefunden. Und jetzt kann man mal gucken. Wir haben jetzt relativ viel, wir haben die Quallen noch nicht.
Jellyfish have mechanisms of self-repair. They're constantly getting bitten by turtles and chunks getting taken away. 50% of the jellyfish population are wounded. So they've gone through 500 million years living, persisting in the ocean in simplicity, and they've come up with some remarkable ways of living. There's something called the immortal jellyfish and how they age, aging in reverse, which we're just beginning to understand, where they get old and then degenerate back into a youth again. In understanding the gene pathways and how this happens, this could look at, humans. We don't have this capacity to age in reverse. It's like Benjamin Button, and it's here. And it just takes the kind of focus and dedication to look at that jellyfish and to grow that jellyfish and to figure out how to use the best available scientific tools to get at this question. It's just about kind of looking super deeply and letting the secrets unfold.
Faszinierend.
The energy from our star flies through the universe, through our atmosphere, and hits us at the ground. But now, when we go underwater, the ocean properties of water are like pure blue filter. So it's going to filter out all these other wavelengths except blue. As you go down further, it's primarily blue, blue, blue till 700 meters. And at that level, there's still faint photons of sunlight in the blue range, or we call this the twilight zone. And there, animals are still perceiving a tiny little bit of our sun's energy. Below this, it's gone. 24/7 darkness. And it turns out that there's a ton of color vision down in the deep. So it's like they're making enough light down there to be able to be satisfying all the eyes of the deep sea creatures. So it's not this totally dark world down there. It's still light. It's just the animals are making the light rather than the sun. We've designed all this technology to kind of satisfy our visual hardware. As I started looking at other animals, they have totally different hardware. And I've been looking at everything through these silly little primate eyes. We have to overcome our humanness to jump behind the world of a shark or another creature and see the world from their perspective. We found a biofluorescent shark, and it only sees right at the blue-green interface. So it's really just tuned to a very similar spectrum to the environment it lives in. This fluorescence was creating greater contrast for the shark. It's like this endless well of information. We're at the very tip of the iceberg.
These animals travel thousands of kilometers navigating open oceans that have no physical landmarks. They have that innate ability to find their way. They're only sharing our beach for a short point in time, but they need protection because man has brought an ancient species to near extinction. I got involved at a time when hostilities were very real. People came with guns and machetes to poach a turtle. We would protect these animals at all costs. Because on the high tides, when the tide comes up, this area here will be flooded, right? So when the sea turtle lays her egg, the nest requires a constant temperature. And if we recognize that this nest is in a real bad spot, we choose a spot further inland on the beach that's stable, and then we would evaluate if the eggs were able to hatch because of us moving them. And in both cases, we're always right. So as the villagers began to benefit from the tourism that turtle conservation was creating, they saw that the turtle was worth more to them alive than dead. The children really love sea turtles. We educate them, but we involve them. And by so doing, we get them to a level of interest where they want to become actively involved. When we first started this conservation work, we would encounter at the height of the nesting season 30, 40 turtles. Now we encounter over 500. That's significant. Some people argue, well, that's nature. Leave them. Why protect them? Remember, humans have to intervene sometimes to help nature keep existing.
Naja. Natürlich haben wir noch mehr Videos. Wenn wir sie schon einmal freigeschalten haben, dann schauen wir uns die letzten 4 natürlich auch noch an.
Sound to whales is everything. It's their hands. These are animals with the biggest brain on Earth and the most powerful sonic apparatus. They spend a lot of their time deep down. They're diving for an hour at a time in darkness. Just like a submarine is echolocating, they ping a signal out and then they wait for that signal to bounce off something and come back as the signal. And from that information, they could get an idea of what's there.
They constantly click, and that click sometimes can be really loud, and you can feel it in your body. It's like going to a DJ and feeling that bass. Once I had an experience with a sperm whale. It clicked, my ears almost like bounced back. It's really an amazing feeling, you know.
You don't develop a huge, complicated brain if you're not using it. Whales have little channels of communicating where they could talk to each other hundreds of kilometers away using sound.
Sperm whales make clicks in sort of rhythmic patterns that we call codas. Any family might have 20 to 25 different coda patterns that they use when they're having conversations with each other. And some of them are unique to different places in the world. In the Eastern Caribbean, they make a lot of what we call a 1 + 1 + 3. That sounds kind of like this. And that's only ever been recorded in the Caribbean. And it's been identical for the last 35 years. These are really different ways of life that are being labeled by these coda patterns. In the same way that human language is kind of a shorthand for where you come from. You can make a lot of missteps when traveling simply by speaking incorrectly or introducing yourself differently. Do you hug? Do you shake hands? Do you bow? And a growing concern has to do with the noise that we're putting into the ocean. Everything we do impacts everything they're doing. The sound is causing high levels of stress in animals like this. No one wants to live at a rock concert. You can imagine trying to have your home inside an arena while some metal band is playing. And that's increasingly what the ocean feels like.
Ah ja. Da waren es nur noch 3.
Brine pools are amazing habitat. It's a lake on the bottom of the ocean. And it's this surreal seascape. Chemically, each one of them is unique.
These brines undoubtedly contain bacteria, archaea, and viruses that are unknown to science. We know that they're incredibly rich in undescribed life forms. They have the perfect cocktail, the perfect recipe for life. These sites aren't just salty, they can be violent, characterized by eruptions and incredibly unstable conditions. So to live in them, you have to not only be hardy, but you have to be able to endure constantly changing conditions because not one day is the same. The organisms that live there, they undergo a constant biological warfare with each other to dominate the environment, to survive in the system. The biochemicals that they produce to do that biological warfare are applicable to curing diseases like cancer, Alzheimer's. They produce antibiotics and antivirals that can also be used to improve human health. And we drop targets as we go, so we know exactly where we sample. Exploring these habitats is absolutely necessary because the metabolic potential there has the capacity to change the way we think about medicine, to change the way we think about antibiotics, based on our knowledge that we gain from studying these incredible environments in the deep sea.
Imagine if I was sent in to go study the Mona Lisa and I come in with a pair of snippers and I'm like, I'm gonna need to cut this baby up a little bit to see what kind of chemical composition is going on there. Like, you wouldn't do that, right? We don't have to kill these animals. We don't have to kill to understand. If we could do a single cell, that means we don't need to kill 20,000 animals to be able to really understand that one. We could do our work much more non-invasively.
So we are working this year on a new project to deploy tags on orcas. We need to learn more about the diet and how they use the habitat. So by deploying those tags, we get the information we need. It is the least invasive method, it is suction cups. So it is not a scratch on the whale afterwards, which is something we really like.
In the deep sea, we use these like robotic claws from the oil and gas industry that gets you the sample, but this is so archaic. So we've been designing something called squishy robot fingers, which are ways to be gentle when we study the deep sea. But I think we could even take this another level. There's some organism, we quickly encase it. It's like a medical checkup. We give it a swab to get its genome. We image it from all directions. We open it up, the animal goes away, and we have more information than we've ever had before. These animals are Mona Lisas. Our perception of them should change. We should be more delicate.
So, noch eins haben wir und dann haben wir sie alle durch. Also für heute, ne?
Hydrothermal vents are located on the seabed, often in deep water, but sometimes in shallower water. And they form in areas where new oceanic crust is being formed. You can have 400-degree water here and 2-degree water over here. It's an accelerometer for chemistry, and you can form organic compounds in the absence of biology. Everybody's interested in vents because of the metals, including humans. But the metals are sort of the nuclei for life. When you think about what's required for life, you've got to have an energy source, you've got to have a system that's able to utilize that energy source, and the organisms sort of co-evolve with the rock. And in my mind, that's probably how life originated. There are reservoirs of precious metals in the deep sea, and we do have societal needs for precious metals. It's very short-sighted and dangerous to exploit resources in ecosystems that we don't truly understand how those ecosystems function.
Deep sea mining is when people go out and extract minerals from the seafloor. People do this because a lot of the minerals that we have on land are actually being depleted, like copper and zinc, so we're looking to the ocean to get those minerals.
We want these minerals for solar panels primarily, and we want them for cell phone boards. It's necessary to advance society and get us off fossil fuels. We simply have no idea about the environmental consequences of a lot of these actions that we're taking in the deep sea. We have tended to go for the quick benefit and we'll deal with the consequences later. Well, I think that has caught up with us.
We don't know enough right now to effectively, selectively mine the deep sea without catastrophic consequences.
The science has always lagged behind the industrialization. I would like for once to see the science ahead of the industrialization and have the science define the limits of the industrialization.
So, das war's. Ich hoffe, es hat ein bisschen gefallen. Viele Leute wollen wir zwar nicht. Ist klar, ist halt auch mal ein Wasserspiel, ein bisschen ruhigeres Spiel. Ach, es können ja auch wieder andere. Man muss sich auch mal ein bisschen weiterbilden, das gehört dazu. Ja, und dann würde ich sagen, wenn es euch gefallen hat, dann schaltet das nächste Mal wieder ein. Und dann wünsche ich noch eine schöne gute Nacht. Ich mache jetzt einen Nachtexpress fertig und dann sehen wir uns morgen wieder. Und tschüss.